What up, Winbush here. And my buddy Tad and I had just worked on a game trailer for Astro Burn, and we thought this might make for a dope tutorial because Tad had worked everything out inside of Blender, he built out the product, and then he was able to make a custom bone structure so that we can animate the flops on the box, which I thought was dope because this isn't a character animation, this is an actual product shot that we're going to later bring into Unreal Engine, and we're going to expose that bone structure so that we can bring it into the sequencer, we can add keyframes, we can control everything that Tad had built out inside of Blender, and it's all pretty seamless. So first off, Tad's going to show you exactly how to get this set up in Blender. So without further ado, take it away, Tad.
Hello, this is Tad Hoshiko, and now I'm giving you a quick overview of the rigging for this box. First, I have the box mesh itself and an armature with several bones already set up. In this video, I'll focus on connecting the mesh to the armature and assigning the weights manually rather than creating the armature from scratch. These bones are used to control the different parts of the box. It's really important to give each bone a clear and descriptive name. When we create vertex groups later, Blender automatically names them after the bones. So this will make it much easier to identify the correct group. The process is similar to character rigging. However, instead of controlling arms or legs, we're controlling the flaps and folding sections of the box. Automatic weighting doesn't always give the results we want, so we'll assign the weights manually. First, select the box mesh, then pressing Shift the armature, and press Ctrl P. Normally, you might choose with automatic weights, but in this case, we'll use with empty groups instead. This creates a set of vertex groups that correspond to the bones in the armature. Now we can start assigning weights. In the 3D viewport, select the box mesh, then let's switch to edit mode. Make sure the select mode is face and select the faces of the flap you want to control. In the property panel, select the right vertex group. Be careful not to include any vertices that shouldn't be affected. We can press Ctrl+ to expand the selection slightly. Next, I'll switch to weight paint mode. Let's use the selected vertices as a mask and assign weights directly. Please make sure that vertex selection masking is enabled. Set the desired weight value. Here it's 1.0. And then assign it to the selected vertices with Ctrl X. Switch to pose mode and test the movement. Select the bone and rotate it, for example with R and then Y. Around the folding area, avoid making the weight transition too abrupt. Otherwise, the flap may bend unnaturally. Use the blur tool to soften the weights around the bending point. This creates a smoother gradient and produces a cleaner fold. If the flap doesn't bend the way you want, go back and adjust the weights. For areas that should remain fixed, simply reduce the weight or set it to 0. Let's continue testing and refining until the fold behaves correctly. This process may take time. And after you got one flap ready, repeat the same process for the remaining flaps. And again, always make sure the correct vertex group is selected. Otherwise, you may accidentally assign weights to the wrong bone. Okay, once all the flaps are working properly, you're ready to export. Pressing Shift, select both the mesh and the armature. Then go to File, Export, FBX. Enable selected objects so that only the selected mesh and armature are exported. If you're using any modifiers, like it can be solidify modifier here, make sure apply modifiers is enabled as well. Then export the file, and your rig box is ready to use.
So that was a quick overview how Tad was able to take the product that he built inside of Blender and was able to combine it with the skeletal mesh. And to continue on the process, we're going to open up Unreal Engine 5.7 and we're going to take it from there. So when you open up Unreal, this is where you're going to be greeted with. And I'm just going to start from the beginning just so you can see step by step on how I imported everything. So I'm going to come over here to New Project in the top left. And then I like using film, video, and live events. And I'm going to start with a blank template, but you can use any of these that you want. So down here, I'm just going to save it to my desktop as my project. And I'm going to click on create. And like I said, you can use any template that you want. I just like using the motion graphics one because that's the one that I'm most used to using. And once we have Unreal Engine 5.7 opened up, this is what you're going to be greeted with. So the first thing I'm going to do is come up here to edit. And I'm going to come down here to plugins. And this should be on by default, but I just want to make sure. So I'm going to type in IK. And you want to make sure that you have the full body IK and you have the IK rig already selected. If you don't, you want to turn these on and just restart Unreal Engine. But usually I always find that these are usually turned on by default. So I'm going to exit this out and then I'm going to open up my content drawer and I'm just going to dock this into my layout. I'm just going to move this up a tad bit and then I'm just going to make a new folder. I'm going to right click. I'm going to come up here to a new folder and I'm just going to name this one FBX. So now I'm going to double click on this one to open it up. And with my Windows Explorer tab, I'm going to take the FBX that Tad has sent over to me. So I'm going to take the box, I'm going to left click the FBX, drag and drop it into my content browser. And that's going to bring up this window right here, in which I'm just going to leave everything at default. I'm not going to turn anything on whatsoever. I'm just going to click on import. And now you can see we have everything inside of our FBX folder. Now let's make these a little bit bigger so that we can see them better. So I'm going to click on the gear over here on the right hand side. Then I'm going to come down here to thumbnail size and I'm just going to click on huge just so you guys can see everything a little bit better. And I'm going to come right here. I'm going to delete out the player start because we don't need that. So now from here, I'm going to come to skeletal mesh. I'm going to left click and drag it into my viewport. And then I'm just going to double click on it. And that's going to make us come all the way down here. Now, where do you have these blue boxes? I like to turn all these off. These are going to be snapping no matter if you're doing like rotation or position or scale, because I like to freely be able to move these up and down. So I'm just going to put this on the top of my landscape here, and then I'm going to hit the F key, and that's going to bring us full screen. And quick tip, if you hold the Alt key on your keyboard, lift, click, and drag, that's going to let us orbit around the item that we have selected. So now from here, let's make a sequencer. I'm going to come up here to the top left where we have our clipboard. I'm going to left click on this, and then I'm going to add level sequence. And then I'm just going to click on save. You can name it anything you want, but for tutorial sake, I'm just going to leave it at default. I'm going to click on save. And now we have our sequencer down here next to our content browser. So the next thing we're going to do from here is we're going to take our item from the outliner. We're going to left click and drag it into our sequencer. And once we do that, you can see that we have our box. It usually has a skeleton because we have a skeleton that was built from Blender and it's already connected in here. And let me actually come over here to my content browser, because if I double click on my skeletal mesh, you can see that we have all the bones and everything here. We just don't have them exposed yet, in which that's why we brought it into the sequencer so that we can expose these and add keyframes to them. So I'm going to exit this out, come back over here to the sequencer, and with my top level right here where you see the skeleton, I'm going to left click on the plus button. And then we're going to come down here to control rig. And you want to come right here to where it says FK control rig. Now left click on this, and that's going to bring us over here into animation mode. So if I left click, you can see we're all the way down here at the very bottom, which is our animation mode. And then I also added this new outliner called the animation outliner. Now, if I select this, you can see now we have our pivot for the skeletal mesh that Tad had made inside of Blender, and we have complete access to everything that we need. So if you look down here inside the sequencer, it's going to correlate with whatever I select over here inside of my animation outliner. So if I click on this one that says top fold, you can see down here, it's going to select that one. Now I just got a little bit closer in here just so we can see it a little bit better. Let me hit F on my keyboard. That's going to focus us on this pivot here. Now, if I come over here and I select my rotation tool, you can see now I have complete access to that pivot. Now, if I wanted to animate this, it's as easy as coming down here inside of my sequencer. We could just click right here and just add a new keyframe, move this all the way over inside of our sequencer. Let's move this up a little bit, select another keyframe. Now go to the very beginning, click on play. And now you can see we animated everything inside of Unreal Engine. And it was easy as that. So hopefully this helps somebody out there. Now we use the Blender to Unreal Engine workflow, but I would imagine this works with Cinema 4D, Maya, or any other DCC out there. It just so happens that we use Blender for this one, but go ahead and test it and let me know what your results are. So I got to give a big shout out to Tad for collaborating with me on this project and also on this tutorial so that we can bring this workflow to everybody. I'm going to leave his social medias down below, so make sure you give Tad a follow. And then also big shout out to Has over there at Beyond the Pixels, the ones that created Astro Burn, because without them, we wouldn't even have had this project to work on. So if you want to know more about Astro Burn, make sure you look in the description down below. You can find it on Steam, you can find it on Good Old Games, and even Kickstarter if you want the physical, in which they just succeeded in their Kickstarter goals. So congratulations to y'all. And until next time, stay fresh, keep creating, and I'll catch you in the next video. I see you soon. Take care.